think I need to let you know, the way you move is unconventional. The way I feel is unintentional, but you make falling in love so regretful. As time passes, we stick to the same distractions. It's like two worlds collide and they sleep on the same. What up, it's your boy Bobby Crillz, and right now you're tuned into the Heart of the City podcast. This is going on my third season now, and today I'm sitting with a very special guest. This is a gentleman that I've known for a good 15, 16 years now. We've put in a lot of work together. He's put in a tremendous amount of work in his career, and it's just somebody that has definitely played a part in my life, and you know, he's been an important figure to the city of Perth Amboy, and just in general in music. The guy's done a million different things. Somebody that I believe deserves to have some light shined on him, and somebody that's very important to what we do and where we're at. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, today I'm talking about my man Rick Mendoza.
Yeah, what's up?
R&J Studios. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, pleasure.
It's been a long time coming. When I first started this podcast, you were kind of like the ideal person that I wanted to interview because of everything that you've accomplished and then the role that you played in my life. So the concept of my podcast to start off was to interview people that, you know, that are kind of under the radar, but should be known, and they've had a role in my life. And me and you've done music together for a long time. You know, you've got some of my best songs and my best performance songs too. So
thank you.
That's what I wanted to dive into with you today. So I want to get into your backstory a little bit, you know, and see what we can learn about Rick.
Yeah, man. Let's do it, man.
So,
let's do it. So what do you want to know?
All right. So to start off, normally I like to ask the question, where were you born?
Yeah.
Where were you born?
Oh, I was born in the city of Perth Amboy, man.
Perth Amboy, Raritan Bay?
Raritan Bay back in the 80s.
What was it called back then?
It was called Raritan Bay.
Okay.
It was called Raritan Bay Medical Center.
Okay, because I know a couple of guests I had called it General or something like that.
No, I never knew it as the General.
You knew it as Raritan Bay?
Yeah, Raritan Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think my birth certificate even says Raritan Bay.
Okay. Parents, what are they?
So my parents are Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Their background, my dad's from Queens.
Okay.
Go Mets.
Okay. He's a Mets fan?
Yeah.
How you doing right now?
I don't follow, man. I don't have time for that, man, to follow the Mets. You know, I feel like I get disappointed when I do follow them.
Yeah. They spent a lot of money, and I know they really haven't seen a return on the investment yet. So
it's rough, man.
I know the Dodgers are going all in right now. And I'm not a baseball guy.
No,
I'm just saying this is the headline. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, my dad's Queens. My mom's from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
They linked up when my dad was really young.
Okay.
My dad got married when he was 18. 19,
to your mother?
To my mom, yeah. So he was a kid.
Wow.
You know,
yeah,
raising
18.
a kid. You know, it was wild. You know, 'cause I only came into the picture 2 years later.
Okay, so you're the first?
Yeah.
Of your how many siblings you got?
I got 3. So I got a sister and I got a brother. And we're all into music. So
your brother's like a worldwide, world-renowned drummer, right?
Yeah. He won the drum off a few years back.
Yeah.
He actually went to the finals twice, which is a huge accomplishment.
Like one of the best drummers in the world.
One of the best drummers in the world, hands down.
Yeah.
You know? But dedication, a lot of dedication. You know, people only see the facade up front.
Yeah.
I was privileged to see the back end where I saw the rehearsals and him not going out with us to the club and hanging out because he was practicing or whatever he was doing. You know, which took him to the level that he's at. But yeah, he's a well-known drummer, Juan Carlito Mendoza. Shout out
to Juan.
Juan, yeah. That's you're able to see the results, the fruits of his labor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which I think are very important, man.
Yeah.
Is having that goal and just going after
And you
something.
watched his journey.
Yeah. Which is so cool, you know? And he's such a humble man.
And your sister?
And my sister is a teacher.
Okay.
She in Perth Amboy as well.
Okay.
And she loves it. She works with kids and
musically inclined as well.
That's her passion. Yeah, she sings in church.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, my dad's a musician. He played, you know.
Is that where it stems from? Your father?
It comes from my dad.
Okay.
But also my mom's side. Ton of musicians on my mom's side. My grandfather was actually what they call a cuatro maker.
Okay.
Which that's like a Puerto Rican guitar.
Okay.
He was a builder.
So he made the guitar.
He made them, yeah.
Okay.
So my lineage of music has always is pretty wide. You know,
you guys are heavy into instrumentation too, which is good.
Yeah, definitely that, as well as just vibing out, as what they call it now, right? Just being around the music and feeling it and kind of embracing it. You know, let it enter you, let it be one with you.
Yeah.
So that was always part of my lineage, at least the beginnings parts of it.
Yeah.
And we learned how to play music in church. You know, my dad took us, my mom and dad would take us there. We would hang out, we watch them play.
Yeah.
And we would model what we see at the church. And yeah, man, that's how we got into the music. It was already instilled in us as we grew.
Well, the common theme there is church. A lot of the great musicians, even the guys that are famous now, the celebrities now, they all have their start in church. A lot of the vocalists, even crazy guys like Kanye we were talking about comes from a church background, even with the gospel stuff he just put out recently with Donda and stuff like that. He's breaking gospel records now. Mm-hmm. But everybody has a good church background. Some of my best friends that are in music learned how to read music, how to write music and stuff like that through church. Yeah. So that's a great foundation.
I was lucky enough, man, that yes, I did learn in church, but my parents actually put me through like piano schooling as well. Oh,
so you took classes?
I was lucky enough that you know my parents sacrificed. I'm like, yo, we'll put you in piano classes.
That's awesome,
and I did well with that. I think that has helped my career the most.
The early lessons and stuff like that,
right? Because how are you going to use auto-tune if you don't know what key the song's in? You know what I'm saying?
It taught you how to find the keys and
how to find the key. Yeah. It helped me be more efficient. You know, looking back at it. You know, I'm looking at as an adult, as a professional. It's a skill that I acquired very early on in life, and to this day I still use.
Yeah.
So
that's funny because I was just saying that. I was like off camera. We were talking. I was like, you're probably the most efficient engineer that I've ever worked with. It's very little wasted time when you're in the session with Rick. Because you kind of know just where everything's at. And you have your setup so, like, tailored to you. Yeah. That, like, I watch you sometimes and I'm in awe. And it's just like button click, boop, boop, boop. It's like you're doing a million things at once and he gets it done like that. What would normally take one engineer 15 minutes takes you maybe 3.
Yeah.
You know?
The reason, I'll tell you what, when I came into the game, I dreaded it a little bit because I would sit there and listen to, like, bad music, right? Because I'm starting out, I'm charging $15 an hour or something very ridiculous just to get the experience. So I got a lot of really bad music that came through. Yeah. And I decided to gamify the whole process in my mind where I treated Pro Tools like a video game. Yeah. So while they're recording, I'm kind of editing. I'm kind of mixing a little bit.
As it's going on.
Right. So to me, a song while someone is singing it is not a song yet to me. Yeah. It's something that it's a technical aspect of it that I'm doing. Before I actually hear the song. I'll actually hear the song when I'm done mixing it. Yeah. I'll listen to the lyrics and be like, oh man, those were clever lyrics that artist said, or they ain't make no sense. What is it? You gotta explain that to me. You know? But yeah, it was always like the technical piece of it and then the artistic side of it. Yeah. So once I gamified it, it was like game over. Because like, well, how can I improve that game? Yeah. Do I need to buy a specific mouse that's gonna help me move my thumb closer to where I need to be? Boom, I found one. I learned how to use that. Is it the shortcuts? Are there shortcuts in Pro Tools that I can use? Boom, did that, found it. And I just kept evolving it into a game. You know, to the point that now it's just like playing Mortal Kombat now.
And you're good at Mortal Kombat, basically.
I'm really good at it, man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
Just watching that as an artist coming to experience Rick for the first time was years ago, but I immediately knew it was different compared to where I've been in other studios and stuff like that. From the rip, I was like, oh, this is different. This is going to be crazy, and he's worth every penny. So for anybody that's out there looking to get into music, or you need to record some music, or whatever it is you're doing, definitely look into Rick. He's definitely worth every cent.
Come through, man. I won't even I don't judge you on your lyrics. I don't listen to them until the end, so it's okay.
That's a good way to look at it, though. Yeah. It's kind of like you're not even hearing it until it's done.
I'm not hearing it until it's done. And it's done at that point. If I don't like it, well, it's too late. I heard it. I worked on it.
That's funny.
But for the most part, I always find something that I like in a song.
Yeah.
Be it a sound, be it maybe a kick sound, maybe a melody. Something that hooks me is what I usually build my mix around. So it's I always find something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's never anything that's too whack, you know?
Yeah. Never anything that's too whack.
That's too whack. Yeah,
there's always something I can make hot.
Right. There might be a little level of whackness, but we can make it better. We could improve it, man.
All right, so parents Puerto Rican, dad's from Queens, mom's from Puerto Rico. What part of Puerto Rico?
Manatee.
Oh, okay, Manatee.
Manatee, yeah.
Yeah, I think I got some family from there too. Were you guys raised in in Queens, or was it like a transition to Perth Amboy?
We were always in Amboy. My dad did the transition when he was a kid.
Okay.
So grew up in Perth Amboy, went through the whole school system.
What elementary school did you go to?
What elementary school did I go to? Holy cow, man.
Now you got to remember this.
Number 7 school.
Where was number 7? Is that where Rite Aid's at?
No, so number 7 school is down by the waterfront.
Okay. Oh, you were a waterfront guy.
Yeah, we're by the waterfront.
Okay.
So I went there, and then I wound up going to the McGinnis School.
Okay.
And then finally to the high school.
Greatest school ever, McGinnis.
Yeah, then I went to the high school, and I was in the band, right?
Yeah.
People make fun of me because they're like, oh, you're a band geek.
No. It's funny, at the time they would say that, but in hindsight, it's like, band was probably the shit.
It was good. Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons I joined the band was because they would go on trips.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll do that. Plus, there's some pretty girls up in there. Why not?
That's where all the chicks were at.
Right.
That's all the flag squad and all of you get to sit on a bus with them for 3 hours going somewhere.
Longer, bro. We went all the way down to Disney one time. It was like, this is wild, man. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Right. So
one time in band camp?
We did band camp. Yeah, we did that too. Yeah, we did that too. And yeah, man, good stories, bro,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Now having kids and being a little older, just thinking back, would I let my kids go to band camp or something like that for a week?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, man, that's rough, man. I saw what went down in band camp.
I mean, you kind of got to let them experience that type of life a
Absolutely.
little bit. You kind of do. It sucks as a parent because you're looking at it like, you little fucker.
Right.
I know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But
because you're looking at it through your lens.
Yeah.
Right. They have their own lens. As a kid, even Rick, a 44-year-old man, has a different lens than Rick at 30.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's a different lens.
I think every decade that passes, the scope of life changes for people. That's at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like 30 was a big milestone for me, and now I'm approaching 40, and I was like, oh, shit, my train of thought is going somewhere else now. It's like I'm thinking about different things at this age than I was when I was 29 or something like that. You know what I mean? So,
and I think as an artist, I mean, that shows with your work, right?
Yeah,
how you write, how you experience things.
Yeah.
Which is great. You want to have that.
That's pretty much been the trajectory of my music. Has been, I started off just trying to sound cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I kept writing and developing, I started getting a little bit more in tune with who I am and putting that out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's been making my little successes a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just keeping it real.
Right,
you know
right,
what I mean?
right. No, we talked about, just being authentic.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't get found out, because right now it's so easy
to get exposed.
Canceled.
And
right. Yeah. So it's like, you got to be super authentic.
Yeah.
With the stuff you're going to put out.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Perth Amboy, went to Amboy High, and
that's what I was just about to get
I
into.
wanted to have my
next question was, what high school did you go to?
Yeah.
And what kind of kid were you in high school?
Yeah, so in high school, I would say I was kind of studious.
Okay.
Where I kind of did my assignments and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just doing it to get it done. Boom.
Yeah.
Which may have helped me to some extent.
Yeah.
Especially with the music, because I'm able to get my work done and move on. But I wish I was a little bit more studious with my studies. I think that leads to discipline.
Yeah.
Early on in life, as well as
creates good habits.
It just creates good habits. Yeah, great habits. As opposed to trying to get those skills in your 30s.
It's hard to preach that to kids, though.
Of course it is.
It's very difficult. You have kids, I have kids. It's just in hindsight for us, it's like, oh, I wish I would have did this. And to them, they're in it, so they're like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They won't get it until
they're sitting where we're sitting, and they're like,
right.
I should have listened. I should have did this.
Right.
My son fights me anything I tell him, and I'm like, dude, this is for your benefit. I promise you. And then he'll be like, yeah, whatever. He does it, and then 2 hours later, Dad, you were right. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I told you, I've been there. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to be a 12-year-old boy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Sure. So, but high school, you were studious.
I was studious in high school, got my studies done, and was accepted to a few music colleges. I was originally going to go in as a professional musician. Okay. Was my whole thing.
So music's been the path.
Yeah.
It's been the path since high school, before high school.
Before high school, right? So in middle school, I went in and started taking those classes.
Yeah.
So I was playing piano early on.
Yeah.
Really early on. When I got to high school is when I started to really embrace it.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I like this. This is cool. Yeah. And I was a pianist, so I would do talent shows with different artists.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, I remember one of the talent shows I did. I played Lately by Jodeci.
Yeah.
And the dude played the sax.
Oh, that's cool.
people lost their, they lost it. Like, yo, this is crazy, I assembled a band, a salsa band in high school.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we did like during the talent shows.
Yeah.
We had a salsa band.
That's crazy. In high school.
That's
unheard of too. Because that's many people were making salsa in high school.
No, bro.
Yeah,
no. So
crazy.
and that's thanks to my dad. He got me into that. Like, he was real heavy into the salsa music.
Yeah.
Always playing it. And yeah, man, I fell in love with it. It's just in the blood, right?
Yeah.
It's in the roots.
Well, it makes you move. You play
it makes you move,
it makes
man.
you move. It does.
It makes you move, man. And the love for the salsa music actually drove me to perform as a pianist in salsa bands.
Okay.
So
any bands in particular?
Yeah. So I played with like some Obi Bermudez would be one of the artists that I played with, and I had a few other opportunities to go out there and play and rehearse with different bands.
Yeah.
And I thought that was my path,
like a professional musician.
Yeah.
Right? Like a musician for hire. Type of thing.
Yeah. Because I was playing. I was at the Copacabana and all these big clubs in New York.
Yeah.
And I was a teenager.
Oh, that's pretty.
So imagine all my friends were like, "Yo, can we ride?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Can I just carry your piano?
Can I carry something?
Yeah.
And that's how we would get in, and we see all these artists, Victim, all these big artists the club as kids.
And this is 90s?
This is the 90s, yeah.
Okay.
So maybe like 97, 98, around there.
Okay, so this is the groundwork that you were laying.
Yeah. So
before, okay.
So I was playing the piano, and I thought that was it. Like all the colleges I applied to were music colleges. Berkeley, Manhattan School of Music. Those were my two big ones.
Okay.
Because I knew one was jazz, and one was more like classical, contemporary. And I got accepted into both. And I was like, all right, I'll go up to Boston. I mean, that's where I was at.
Is that Berkeley?
It was Berkeley, yeah. And I honestly, man, I couldn't hack it. Like, I got cabin fever. I was away from my family, and I was like, yo, I don't know anyone out here. And I came back home.
Yeah.
So when I came back home, my dad said, well, if you're not going to go to school, you got to go to work. And that's what I did. I went to work, And I was
in a traditional sense or back with music?
No. With music back then, remember, they weren't paying much. Like now,
so you went and got a job.
Right. You needed a job.
What kind of job did you have?
Bro, I was working in a hospital.
Okay.
Doing shipping and receiving. So I was getting the stuff and then delivering it to the different floors. And I hated it, man. Yeah. I hated it with a passion,
Yeah.
And then I would, get out of there, rehearse, practice, go to the city. If I had to go to the city to rehearse or
doing your gigging and
still doing my gigging and all that stuff. And then I'd get up and go to my day job.
Yeah.
And I talked to one dude there that I met at work, and he was looking through Rolling Stone magazine.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was into music like that. At the back of it, he goes, "Yo, man, I want to go to this school, man. This school, it was called Full Sail."
Ah, Full Sail.
And I was like, "What's a weird name for the college?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yo, let me get that information." So I wrote it down. They didn't have a website back then. Yeah,
wow.
that didn't exist. I wrote to them, and they sent me like a catalog.
A
brochure, yeah. Like, this is what we have, X, Y, and Z. And I told my dad about it. And he's like, let's go visit it. See,
in Florida?
In Florida, yeah. In Winter Park, Florida.
Wow.
And I went, man.
What year was that?
This was back in 98.
Okay. I'm just trying to put a timeline.
Yeah, 98, 99, around there. And went down to Florida, checked it out, and I was like, yeah. This is it.
That's where you knew you wanted to be there.
My spirit felt right. It was like, I need to be around all these buttons and
so you ended up getting a degree there?
Yeah, so I wound up going to Full Sail and getting an associate's degree in recording arts.
Okay.
At the time that I went, that's the furthest you could go there. Was an associate's degree. Yeah.
Okay.
Got my associates, came back home, and looked for internships. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You start from the ground level. And internship in music is not easy because you're doing all the crappy stuff. Literally. Yeah.
Go get coffee, sweep the floor.
Get the coffee. At that point, it wasn't even get the coffee. It was make the coffee.
Yeah.
Right? Because they ain't drinking Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts was not like it is now. Yeah. It's Starbucks.
America wasn't running on Dunkin'.
Nah, it sure wasn't. No way, man. Yeah, so we would have to make the coffee.
Yeah.
And we would think, back then I'm thinking, what the hell does this have to do with music, man?
We just had to put the work in, dude.
It's about putting in the work.
Yeah.
And showing them that you're reliable and they could count on you.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Where was your first internship?
So my first internship was at the Hit Factory.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I did that for a little bit.
That's a big studio.
Yeah, man. It's huge hits. Huge hits. Stevie Wonder, all these guys are coming through those studios,
Starstruck moments there or no?
Never.
You never had a starstruck moment?
Never.
Nothing?
Maybe when I was really young.
Yeah.
When I was a huge salsa fan.
Okay.
I remember meeting like Victor Manuel. And I was like,
Starstruck?
This dude is
bigger than life, right?
Right. Even his stature, right? Because he's not a little guy; he's a tall man.
Yeah.
And I got a little starstruck.
Okay.
But not to the point I was like, hey man, this is that, you know. But
I think that's where I would be weak at. Like if I was to do something like that.
Yeah.
But then again, they say you don't want to meet your heroes neither. So I kind of take that with it too. So
with a grain of salt.
But when I was younger, I probably would have been starstruck, I think.
Yeah.
It takes a certain level of maturity to be like an intern at somewhere where you're meeting like superstars and
right.
I mean, but you already went through the grinder of everything. So you kind of had a mentality for it at a young age.
Yeah.
So Hit Factory was the internship.
Hit Factory was for a few months. And then I wound up freelancing. I was like, man, I can't get a gig as an in-house engineer.
Yeah.
Because you would get hired as an assistant. And I was like, all right, I lost that gig. There was so many people competing for that job. It's almost like being a rapper or something.
Yeah.
Like you either got to be super talented or super connected.
Yeah.
One of the two or both.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, I wasn't connected like that. So the guy that came in was someone that was already connected.
He had the plug.
He had the plug, man. So I had to go back on the grind, man.
So freelance, how long did you freelance?
Man, I freelanced for years until I tried to get a job at Bad Boy. I had friends there.
Yeah.
And they hooked me up with the studio manager. And again, my dad's like, that's it. He's my go-to guy, man.
Your dad?
He drove me all the way to New York.
Oh, he's been part of the grind the whole time.
Yo, bro, totally part of the grind. Like I come up with these crazy ideas, and he's like, yeah, man, let's go, let's try it.
See how important a father is to the kids, man.
It's so important. Yeah.
And just to touch on that a little bit, R&J Studios.
Right.
Rick and
Johnny.
Rick and Johnny.
Yeah,
That's Johnny, right?
Johnny,
just
that's
to
my
put it in
boss.
perspective for people that don't know what that is, but the business name is R&J Studios. And I remember there was times where I would book your studio and I'd be talking to your father.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. And oh man, it's just to see where you've come from the beginning of R&J to now, it's crazy. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So
that is wild, though.
So Bad Boy.
Yeah, so I had gone to Bad Boy. I got a plug with the studio manager at the time.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, just come in and drop off your resume and like a little reel, like your work. What work have you done?
Yeah.
So I was excited. I thought I was in the end. You know, I had the plug, and I knew
they got your stuff.
Yeah, I know how to do all this. Sure, I was good. I was quick.
Yeah.
Man, I went into Bad Boy Studios. And if you've ever been to Bad Boy Studios, it's like a dungeon.
I've never been there.
Yo, it's a dungeon.
Yeah.
You walk in there, or when you walked in there, it was black walled. You'll see the Biggie plaques up in there.
Yeah.
All the Biggie. Sean Combs at that point was huge. He had all the records, man, all the big artists.
And this is late 90s. This is in their heyday. Like they were prime Bad Boy.
It was prime, bro. It was prime. But I remember walking in there, it looked like a cave. And giving the receptionist my package. It was in a folder. And they said, okay, yeah. And the studio manager said, just wait here, it'll come out. 4 hours, bro.
Wow.
I sat there. And I was like, I gotta go, man. This is wild, and I wound up leaving, man. I never met with the dude, nothing.
So you never...
Till years later.
Okay.
I met with him years later.
So that came full circle at some point?
That came full circle. Where I was working on a project at a studio, and the dude comes in, and I'm like, I know who you are, man. Yeah. And I told him.
You made me wait for 4 hours.
Yeah. And I told him.
What was his response?
Man, we can...
My bad, bro.
Yeah, my bad. Or my bad. Or, hey, man, we have, a dime a dozen. You guys are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
These colleges are pumping people out.
There's a lot of you guys.
There's a lot of us out there.
One guy leaves, the door, another one's right in the door.
Quick, man. It's a revolving door.
Yeah.
In the engineering world, it's a revolving door. And I knew at that point I didn't want to put all my eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided I'll go 100% freelance.
Yeah. So when you were freelancing, you were working out of different studios, I'm assuming?
Yeah, different studios.
So at least you had some type of connections with establishments.
Yeah.
Okay.
And artists, right?
Yeah.
That was the most important thing.
Because they're the ones that are booking you, basically.
Right. So, they would book me, I would book the studios, and I would tack my fees on to whatever the studio's going to charge me.
Yeah.
And then what was left was what I got paid.
Yeah.
So I was like, how can I cut the middle person out?
Right? Light bulb.
Right. How can I cut the middle person out? And Pro Tools had, pretty much gotten to the point that it was affordable, like in the $10,000 to $20,000 range, affordable, right? But it wasn't.
It was $10,000 to $20,000 back then.
Yeah, because it couldn't run on a computer. The way Pro Tools worked is
some heavy duty shit.
It had like a computer that connected to your computer, and that processed all the audio. Yeah, and that wasn't cheap back then.
Crazy how technology has advanced.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Wow. So just to put that. Pro Tools was $10,000 to $20,000.
Right, and that was in the early days, so you could get an okay setup.
So you were there. You were basically in the middle of the transition from analog to digital.
Yeah, I saw it. I was at the cusp, man.
Did you work analog?
I did. Yep. I worked on
so you got experience working analog as well?
Yes.
Oh, so you pretty much caught the end of it, and
then digital.
What do you prefer?
I prefer listening to analog.
Yeah.
But working in the digital realm.
It's a lot easier.
So much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier. I mean, you can do the things that you do on digital in analog.
Yeah.
But it takes so much longer.
Rest in peace to my uncle. He passed away, Manny Pacheco. He had a studio in his house, and it was an analog studio. And this was in 2000, I want to say 9 maybe.
Wow.
And at that time, we had Pro Tools. So it wasn't 10 to 20,000 at that time. But my boys had it in their studio. So I went to my uncle's studio to record, and the process that I went through to record, I was like, dude, I'm not doing this ever again. This is crazy, bro. Like, it took us like forever to get like one verse done. I was like, it was nuts.
Yeah.
And we wasted probably like four hours there. And it was crazy. But the musicians back in the day were different, man. Like,
different. That was their job.
Yeah. And he had like a bathroom, kitchen, shower, and everything in the studio because so much time was spent in the studio with artists back in the day. So digital and analog is a big difference. But
that's amazing. Yeah, in the workflow of it.
Yeah.
It is. You know, again.
Can you hear the difference sonically?
Sometimes.
It's tough, right?
Because right now the digital is so good.
Yeah.
And the software, the plugins and all that stuff is so well made.
It makes you feel like it's analog.
Yeah,
right?
It makes it feel. You can make it feel like it's analog. Even my work, it doesn't sound as brittle.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
And I'm trying to understand.
Like it sounds like it's too trebly.
Okay,
right. So brittleness would be like trebly compared to like an analog where you get a lot of bottom, right? Yeah. Where the voice sounds like it's going from the ground and 10 feet up.
Yeah,
because it's analog. There's something about it. The way it compresses, the way it saturates. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
that's the best way to describe it.
You see the passion in his face.
I love that. Gorgeous. Man. It's gorgeous, man. I love it. I love analog, man.
All right, so you were freelancing for a while. What was the time frame of freelancing? 2-3 years? 4 years?
Yeah, I did it till 2001.
Okay,
I did it to 2001, and that's when I spoke to my dad, and I was like, Pops, I want to open up a studio. And he's like, what do you need? I said,
God, I love your father, man. I love your father, man. Your father's awesome.
I said, I don't need money. I have money. That's fine. You know, I was a single dude. I had worked.
Yeah.
I need a space, a reliable space. Can I have the bedroom in the back of the house that no one uses? I want to convert it into a little studio.
I remember this.
Right? And it was no booth, no nothing. It was just a little bedroom. And my dad said, yeah, cool, man. And the dude freaking broke down walls, put up insulation. We did some I have some books. We researched how to do the wiring and how to do the soundproofing. And I had a little bit of that knowledge from college.
Yeah.
And then we just built upon that, man. We built on it, and I started the studio in the back room of my parents' house.
When I first went to R&J, the studio wasn't in the back room, but the control room was in the back room.
So that's like phase 2 of my studio.
Okay.
That was phase 2. Right. Where I was like, man, you know what? I'll let the artists create it in their own space. Yeah. And I'll be in my space.
You had the control room in the house, and then you had to walk out the door of the house to go to the garage, and then you had the videos with the TV. You were pretty high tech, man, for that time. Wild, that was pretty crazy.
That's wild.
That was crazy. Man. And I think that vibe, that aesthetic, I guess you could say, is what really drove people to it. It was like Rick was the real deal.
Yeah.
You were the real deal for that, bro.
Yeah, thank you,
I don't know if you realize how important that part of the journey was for you, but I remember the first time I went there, and like I said, I saw you moving and doing stuff. I was with Realm. I think Realm was working with you at the time.
Yeah.
And I was just in awe, man. But anyways, transitions for...
Yeah, man.
So you guys started the business in what year?
2001 we started it. Okay. 2001. And one of my friends, a guy that I work with, Eric Morales, he was a big time artist.
Yeah.
Like international. He
artist
sang,
as far music.
He sang for a group called Proyecto Uno. And Proyecto Uno was huge. It had big hits, and I worked with him.
Yeah.
And he gifted me a microphone.
Ooh.
He was like, yo, Rick, I want to... It was like a MXL. It's like cheap, right? But it didn't matter to me. I was like, man, it's a mic. I don't have a mic. You know, it could have been a computer. Yeah. Like, it was something... And it was very thoughtful of him.
Yeah.
And I used that mic and my little setup to build up my studio. And what I would do is I would always buy my equipment used because I knew I would get a deal on it.
Yeah.
Like it might be a 1 or 2 year old computer, and then I'd use it for 5-6 years and then sell all the equipment everything, and then use that money to upgrade. Yeah. And I continued to do that, so I never went into debt with my music like that. Yeah, I always flipped what I had, and I think that comes from working with, I hate to say this, but like drug dealers, right? Because at the time, those were the people that were able to afford.
They're very smart.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah,
as far as operations go.
Right. So I would watch it and see how they operate. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, they're running like an official business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they have their emploes. They have the distribution.
They have distro. They have employees.
They have everything. You know what I'm saying? So I learned a lot.
They probably don't have accountants, but.
No. So I learned a lot. And I noticed that, they would flip whatever the hell they had and get something better.
Yeah.
And then be able to charge a little bit more for what they had.
You scaled.
Yeah. And I was like, I could do that. I can do that. And I transitioned it into the music business.
So one of the conversations we were having off camera before was talking about how you scaled your business. And I thought that was something that was amazing because I've literally watched it. You know what I mean? I've seen the growth of R&J Studios from the bedroom to the back house to now you got the whole studio in the back house. And now you're here in a whole different location.
I'm home.
So for those that don't know, Rick has relocated to his own location at home. He's not with his at his dad's house.
Not at my dad's house anymore. Thanks, Pops, man. I owe you a lot, man.
A lot of great music's come out of that garage, though. A lot of memories in that garage. So I don't know if you guys understand how important that is to the people of the city, stuff like that. So there's a lot of love that is placed at that house because of what you guys done there.
Absolutely, man.
So
absolutely.
I know that I've had great things going on over there. So every time I left, I felt great. I always felt good.
That was always the point,
man.
That
was always good. I was like, I got something.
Right.
I got something. You know what I mean?
That was always my thing, man. Like, I wanted an artist to come in with an idea and leave with it completed by the time that they walk out. Yeah.
Polished.
Yeah, man, because I want you to feel good about it.
Yeah.
You know, at the same time, I'm going to feel good because we had a goal.
Yeah.
And we met that goal. And I always had, I'm sure you remember, like, hey, what's the goal for the day? What are we doing? How many songs? What are we doing? My
question to you is, as a professional engineer, somebody who's been recording artists all the time, how... Is it difficult to work with most artists, or
it's actually pretty easy going?
Yeah,
artists are very vulnerable.
Yeah,
you know, especially when they walk in here.
Yeah.
So when they come in here, they're kind of like, okay, they're judging their environment to be like, am I going to be judged or what? You know,
or am I free to be creative?
Am I free to be creative? And my job is to get them comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, if that's learning their lingo and kind of going along with it, and becoming a peer, that's what I'll do. You know, but at the same time, I start transitioning into my person, so they understand. Oh, this is who Rick is.
Yeah,
you know, he could be open. I mean, I could be open, and he could be open.
Yeah.
So it's. I think most artists are vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think to be an artist, you have to be vulnerable.
I think that might come across as something as arrogant.
Yeah.
But it's not. It really isn't.
I mean, the way you view it that's from your perspective too. So and that's how you deal with them on a daily basis. Right. Are they organized for the most part? I feel like some people. My experience with other artists and stuff like that is like the way I attack my studio sessions is I try to be as organized as possible.
Yeah,
I'll have a list of to do. This is what we have to get done in this time frame, and then working with you is so efficient that you pretty much get the whole list done in in record time, and then you still have time to do stuff, and you're like, what else do I do?
Yeah,
That's what it's like working with you.
Yeah,
in other studios it's been a little bit different, but my experience with artists, they're pretty scattered. You know, and they're just.
I think most artists are scattered.
Yeah.
The organization.
Yeah.
piece is not really there.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can ask an artist, what's the end goal here with the music? And I do, because I want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I used to hear to get signed, to get on a label.
Yeah.
That was always like the go-to thing.
Yeah.
Right? Now it's to go viral, right? Get discovered, right? It's got to be something. Something with fame or fortune. It's always something with fame or fortune. But, man, I lost my train of thought.
Anyway, artists are scattered.
Artists are scattered. Yes. So, for the most part, they are.
Yeah.
Right. For the most, and my job is to kind of like to drive the ship.
Yeah.
And be like, yo, let's put some order into this.
Yeah.
We can get crazy. We can try different things, but let's get the structure first.
Yeah.
And then from there, once we have the structure, you build on top of it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both.
That kind of leads me into the next question I have for you, because I saw another journey that you started sometime into your career with the music and stuff like that. You started getting into digital marketing.
Yeah.
Heavily, and I had one conversation with you. We were talking about it off camera with the book and stuff like that, and just hearing you talk about impressions and reach and cost per impression and stuff like that. I immediately like gravitated towards that concept. I started doing research on my own after speaking with you about it. Yeah. And then you broke down like how you're running your business, and then I've watched you scale. It took time. Took discipline, patience, and time, but you did, and you did money. But the way you scaled it was perfect. And I think I told you off camera, you're probably one of the most successful business owners that I know personally. And, you know, that's why I felt it was important to shine some light on you, because a lot of people don't realize what you've done. And it's not just the engineering, it's the other aspects of your business as well. You could show a lot, you could tell a lot, you could teach a lot, you've been through a lot, you know? So you're just somebody that's very knowledgeable. And anybody that's privileged to be in your presence, you know, they should be happy.
Yeah, man, that means a lot.
You know
Thank you.
I mean?
I appreciate that. The marketing piece, man, that came in, I would say, maybe 5 years into having the studio.
Yeah.
Where I was actually sitting with an artist, and we got really close, and he asked me, what's going on? How's business doing? And I said, man, it's not doing good. It's so slow.
Was it like just word of mouth at the time?
It was just word of mouth at that time. And the only advertising I knew was going and giving out flyers and stuff like that.
Because a show or something.
Yeah, that was the thing that we did.
Hand-to-hand stuff.
Hand-to-hand stuff, exactly. Meet artists, invite them over, things like that. And I was just tired of it. So I kind of gave up on marketing. And then I was talking to the artist, and he goes, have you ever tried Google Ads, or Google AdWords, one of those two?
Yeah.
I was like, no, what is that?
It's a whole new world.
It was game over.
Whole new world.
And this was in the beginning where you were able to pay like 10 to 15 cents a click.
Yeah.
You know, for like recording studio, like as a keyword. And I dove into that full tilt.
Yeah.
And started advertising on Google, and my calendar started filling up. And I was like, okay, this is cool. It works. Yeah. Right. So I would show it was like turning a faucet on and off. I need more customers, put more money in the machine, and more customers would show up.
Can you repeat that?
Put money in the machine and more customers will show up.
You got to pay to play, baby.
You got to pay to play.
You got to pay to play.
So essentially, you're paying for those eyeballs, right? And you're essentially creating a digital billboard
on the phone.
On the phone, right? At that time, it was on the computer.
Speaking my language, Rick. I love this conversation.
And dude, I fell in love with it. You know, the analytical.
It became a whole nother thing for you, right?
Yeah, I became obsessed, man. Just like reading books and going on the websites and doing all kind of asking people that have done it.
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce, like meeting people that have done all that stuff. And this was maybe back in 2005 or 6.
And you've been doing it ever since.
Ever since, man.
And here we are today.
Yeah. So it's basically, it's very simple, man. Just find people where they're at.
Yeah.
And let them know that what you have.
If you had any advice for up and coming musicians or engineers, people trying to get into the world, what would you tell them?
Bring something to the table. Don't come to the table empty-handed, right? Because we always want to come and be like, hey, how can you help me? But instead of coming to them and saying, hey, I can help you with this, right? And not expecting anything, but hopefully building a relationship that could blossom into something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because right now, there's too much of, hey, check this out, as opposed to, hey, I like this, and just like it. Be a fan. Yeah. Be a fan of something. Right now, people are not fans. They want to be stars, and that's hard right now.
Yeah.
Right?
It's extremely hard.
Right. So you have to be an X and a C of O's. That's the main goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't just, if you're starting out your career and you want to be famous, great. There's probably easier ways to be famous. Same thing with getting rich. There's probably way easier ways to get rich. I remember one of my mentors told me the quickest way to make $1 million in the music business is to spend $2 million.
I said something like that. I read something like that the other day. The fastest way to make a small fortune in music is to spend a big one.
Right.
Something like that. It was along those lines, but that's very true. And in music, you need a lot of money, man.
You need a
lot of marketing money.
Right, because you have more. You need to get eyeballs. Essentially, what you're paying for is impressions, and impressions are just eyeballs. So anytime someone sees a billboard or sees anything, that's an impression. That's why the platforms are so paid. Yeah, because people are on there. You're paying for those eyeballs. There.
Absolutely, and they'll tell you your time on the platform, and they want to keep you on that platform as long as possible.
Yeah. That's why when you do run an advertisement, it needs to be engaging. It can't just be an ad that's just there.
Yeah.
Or just show your ad to anybody.
Yeah.
You always want to show your content or your music
towards a targeted demographic.
To your targeted demo. Right, exactly. So you're not wasting money. Yeah. You're being efficient with your budget, and it's going to stretch a lot further. Like one of the cool things I learned was something called remarketing.
What's that?
So,
remarketing
is showing your message to a bunch of people in a group.
Yeah.
And then segmenting people that have engaged with your content, right? So you're creating a little pocket of people
that you know like this.
Yeah, they engage with your content already.
Yeah.
So when you remarket to them, you take, instead of showing it to everybody, you show it to that little group of people that showed interest.
Does that like have a very successful
rate?
It
converts a lot higher.
It converts higher to paid customers.
Yeah, of course, because they know you, right? They've
already seen
ads,
it. And they liked it.
So they know that they like whatever you're putting out.
Where do you get? Is that off like Google Ads?
It's all the platforms will show you engagement rate.
Okay.
And then from there, it's having all the tech stuff set up so that
you can retarget them.
Segments your users.
Okay.
But what's cool about that is, let's say you grow a list of, 10,000 people that might have engaged with your content.
Yeah.
Instead of having the wide targeting that you had originally, you can tell the platforms, find me people that are similar to the group that I collected. And then those start to convert a little bit higher.
That's crazy.
It is, man. It is. Crazy. And again, it comes down to efficiency, right?
Yeah.
And being
trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error, being smart with your money. And putting things out to see what works and what didn't.
Yeah. I think that's one of the problems a lot of artists have nowadays. They're not even playing that game.
Yeah.
We're just creating music and thinking that's the end of it, and it's really not.
Right.
There's so much more that goes into it, and marketing is probably the most important.
Yeah. I think what's dope, man, with being an indie artist, I don't mean to cut you off, but is the fact that you could experiment.
Yeah.
Like, I wish artists, come on, man.
You're not handcuffed.
You're not handcuffed to a sound. You're not handcuffed. Like, try a rock track. Try this. Put distortion in your vocals. It doesn't have to be super pristine. Try something different.
If you look at it in the past couple of years, we've had a few artists that kind of jumped out the plane without a parachute, and Lil Nas X with the Old Town Road, and Jelly Roll, 40 years old right now, just finally getting New Artist of the Year. You know, there's people that are experimenting and doing well, and there's black people infiltrating country music right now, if I'm not mistaken, and they're doing very well at it. So it's crazy.
It's like, you're, as an indie artist, you're lucky.
Yeah,
you really are lucky.
Just a lot of hats.
It's a lot of hats.
It's a lot of hats you got to wear. I think that's what makes it difficult. Is that you have to kind of be not a jack of all trades, but you're not really a master of anything.
Right.
You know, so it's like it's hard. It's hard.
Right.
But
you can leverage it, right?
Yeah, you could.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't always have to be about money, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've leveraged my services for like contracting type of work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you just make these relationships. So you can always leverage, as an artist, you could find the publicist, Again, it goes back to what can I bring to the table?
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Life lessons right there.
Yeah, what can I bring to the table?
Yeah. So with that said, Rick, I want to thank you for being on the podcast, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me your time. Appreciate it. Thank you for everything that we've created together, because that's been a blessing in itself. So
it was fun, man.
It was good.
All our sessions are great. I enjoy our sessions.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like they're efficient.
Yeah.
And we're on.
I try not to waste time. So
yeah. It gives us enough time to talk shit at the end.
And we talk shit. We do talk shit.
I love it.
Yeah. But on that note, you got anything you want to promote? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I am at Pro Tools Tech. And I do most of my stuff there. So you can just check me out there on Instagram.
As you guys saw, Heart of the City Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you next time.
I'm at a point I don't need to act out of desperation when I know the intentions are evil. I've been there before, I'm keeping it real when I tell you they see through. You tell them you got it, they know that you serious, still don't believe you. Fuck it, I don't need you. I'm in my zone, bug got me tripping a little far gone. I'm chasing the vibe, I ain't making it home. Frankly, I'm tired of watching the throne. Fuck all that cool shit, I'm here for the smoke. No time for the cap and I'm grown. The haters be talking, they know that I walk at the top. I done made it my home. Look, who got the city? That's me. Y'all don't be litty like we be. Haters be all on my P. Really, who better than B? See, back to the wall, the time that I'm on. See, I ain't got time for getting along. Just give me my bag and I will be gone or get in my way and it's on. Crillz. Who do I trust? Me. Who put this together? Me. Who ride through the weather, rough times or whatever, for worse or for better? Me.